My late dad's sister contacted me and offered me money to help pay for my dream college, but my mom went behind my back and cunningly used it to buy a car for my stepsister and said an imbecile like me didn't deserve it anyways, so I went no contact. 3 years later, mom called me, saying she wasn't left with a single penny to her name and begged me for help cause I'm her blood after all, but I laugh in her face. My parents got divorced when I was 3 years old after a few years of being in an unhappy marriage. They had joint custody of me, and I would spend half the month with my mom and the other half with my dad. Initially, things were good, but when I was around 6 years old, my mom started dating Sam and he did not like me much. Even as a 6-year-old, I could sense that, and we mostly just stayed away from each other as much as we could. Sam also had a daughter who was 5 years older than me, my stepsister Fiona. After being with each other for about a year and a half, Sam and Fiona moved in with us. Unlike me, Fiona's parents did not have a joint custody arrangement because her mother wasn't exactly interested in being a mom in the first place. So she spent all her time with us and would only see her mom every other weekend. Fiona was exactly the kind of daughter that my mother had always wanted. She was feminine and intelligent in the same way that my mom was, and I could see that they had started developing a good relationship very quickly. Obviously, I was jealous and I started doing things to get her attention, but it only seemed to annoy her. After a couple of years, Sam and my mother got married and I started being pushed even more into the shadows, but I never complained about it to anybody, not even my dad, because I did not want to be taken away from my mother. And I thought that was what was going to happen if I complained about her. So I was unhappy when I used to stay with my mother, but I never said anything about it until I hit my teens and things started going even more downhill. Fiona was a huge bully, and when I was younger, she would only intimidate me and stuff, but as we grew older it became more and more difficult to stay with her because she was constantly putting me down and my mom didn't even seem to care. I was her biological daughter, but to me it seemed like she cared more about her stepdaughter. So naturally, I started picking fights with my mom as well, and our relationship started getting worse. Even then, I never complained about it to anyone because even in my teens, I was still holding on to the hope that at some point, she was going to realize that I was not a bad kid and all I needed was some attention and affection from her. Unfortunately, that never happened, and our relationship steadily kept getting worse until it all came to a head when my dad passed away, and a particular incident made me have no contact with my mother altogether. This was almost 3 years back when I was around 18 maybe, and I was about to start college. But thanks to my mom, I didn't even get to attend the college of my choice. My dad had been suffering from heart problems for a really long time, and one day, we just received a call from his sister telling us that he had unfortunately passed away in his sleep due to a heart attack. He was just in his mid-40s, but I guess he had had the foresight to realize that because of his heart problems, he might not get the time or opportunity to set his affairs in order before he passed away. So he did have a will, and he had mostly left everything to either me or his sister. All the money that he had left in his account was supposed to be split between his sister and I, and everything else that he owned was to be sold, and the money from that was also going to be split between us equally. It was a decent amount, and I realized that it would be enough to get me through college without working or taking out a student loan. But my dream college was not here. It was in another state, and I would need some extra money for that. By then, I had even been accepted into the college of my choice, and I knew that my mom or Sam were never going to help me take out a student loan or even cover the expenses of my travel. So the only option that I had was to speak to my aunt. I didn't actually intend to ask her for money or financial help. I just wanted her to co-sign the student loan for me, and I even invented some story about why my mom wouldn't be able to do it because I did not want to throw her under the bus, since by then I had become quite adept at keeping secrets about how my mom really treated me. I know people must be thinking of me as stupid for never outing her, but honestly it had become a habit by then. And especially after losing my father, I could not stand the thought of being kicked out by my mom as well, because no matter how badly she treated me, I thought that she was still my mom and I should stay with her. If I had told my aunt the truth about why my mom would not co-sign my loan, I definitely would have lost her.